In this tutorial, I want to show you how to add Entourage to your site. And Entourage is trees, people, maybe cars, maybe some light poles to give your model a sense of scale or to reinforce the scale. So the buildings that you see on there, the conceptual masses, those can be considered Entourage. And without the buildings there, we wouldn't really be able to tell the size of ours because we have nothing to compare it to. But now that we have other buildings there, our building now starts to have a really good sense of scale and proportion. But we also want to add the trees to just liven this up. So I'll be introducing 3D Warehouse here. So you need to open up 3D Warehouse, and to do that, you come up here to Window, and then you'll go to 3D Warehouse. Give that a click. It says you need to sign in. So please use your Gmail that you have shared um, for class. So the Google Drive email, Gmail, that's the one that's going to work. So I'm going to sign myself in using my Gmail account. I'm just going to say reject all regarding cookies. And then right here it says continue with Google. Give that a click. So let me sign in. Start again because I may have typed that in wrong. Let me go ahead and check my Gmail to confirm. All set. I'm going to click on this X here. And I'm all set. I'm just going to ignore the messages here. And then I'm going to put this window right here in the middle of the screen and expand it. So this is the 3D warehouse. This is where the SketchUp community will upload models. So you can upload models as well. And this is where we share content. So it's free and it has been created by other users. It's also been created by some companies that make furniture or make other products related to the architectural industry that you can download at no cost. So this is really nice. So what I'd like to do is just go straight to trees. And first of all, let me just click on agree here so I can start using it. And, it's just showing you a lot of the content here. I'm going to scroll to the top and I'm going to type in tree and enter. And also there's a message up here. I'm just reading that and I'm just going to click on X because I want to maximize my screen. There we go. All right. So these are the trees. It's a lot of them. And before you do anything, do not download any of these trees that are very complicated, very sophisticated. They're going to slow down your model. I recommend to all students to download 2D trees, which basically is just an image of a tree. And to do this, you need to filter out the content. So right up here, there's filters. You're going to give that a click. And then on the side here, what we're looking for is not products, but just models. And then under categories, you can select architecture, but that might limit it too much. I'm just going to leave it to all categories. I'm not going to touch the subcategories. And then for file size, this is where you do want to click on that. And you want to go with file sizes that are relatively small. So I'm just going to click this slider button over, click and drag. And I usually keep it to under 5 if I can. And then I'm going to click away from that. And then the polygon count, you also want to keep that low. So I'm going to click and drag until I can bring that down, if it'll let me. It's not letting me click and drag, so I'm just going to click over here and see if it'll move it. but it's not doing that either. So I'm going to say up to 10K. Let's see if that will reduce it. And then can I click in here? And now can I click and drag? No, it seems to be placing it back. That's okay. I'll just go ahead and click on up to 10K, so smaller than 10,000 polygons. And then I'll go ahead and click apply. And then when you look at the content, you'll see a lot of options. And what I'd like you to do is keep an eye on the file size here. And this is a 1 meg or more or less. And then also keep a file size or keep an eye on the polygon count. So I think what I'm going to do is go with this one here. Very simple, straightforward, and it should be two-dimensional. If it's not two-dimensional, I'm not going to use it. There are also collections here, and you can bring in the collections and then explode it as needed, and then just use the content. There are also trees here like this one that are stylized, and they look like a graphical representation. They don't look lifelike, so whichever one you prefer is fine. So I'm going to come up here, and I believe I was going to select this one, so I'm going to click on that. Shows you who the user was that created it and uploaded. So I'll give that a click. And then what I'd like to do is just give it a 3D preview here. So I'm going to click on that, give this a moment. I'll click on View in 3D. And then I'm just going to click and drag and see how that tree is always facing the viewer. So this tells me it is a 2D tree. And that's what I want because I want to keep this very simple. So I'm going to come over here and click on download. And then it's going to prompt me, load this directly into your model. And the answer is going to be yes. I want to bring it in. So click yes. It says it's downloading. Give it a second and then just place the tree. If you want to put it on your property, you can. If you want to put it on the parkway, you can do that also. So I'm going to place it on my property first. And there's the tree. Now, you have to be careful with a lot of these objects, a lot of these 3D warehouse models that you download because they're being put together by users like you and me, um, but they may not have cleaned up the file before uploading it. It might not be to the right scale. A lot of different things happen. They're free, so I really appreciate users uploading, but it's up to you as the end user, as the person that is putting together your model to just double check these files. So this one seems to be okay, and I'm going to keep it there. So I'm going to tap the space bar and click away from my object. And then I'm going to make a copy of this tree. So I'm just going to click on it, and then I'm going to type M for move. And it doesn't matter where I pick from. I'll just click right here, move it over, and tap the control key and place it right here. And it's boxed in, and sometimes it'll be a flat plane. It depends on the type of a tree or type of 3D warehouse model that you download. So this is fine, but I don't want all the trees to be the same size. So I have a tool over here. This is already highlighted, and this tool here is called scale. So I'm going to click on that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scale this up a little bit so it's bigger than the one that I have on my property. So all I have to do is click and drag along any of the outside corners. And you can see how it's showing uniform scale. So if I click and drag up, notice how it's getting bigger. I'm not going to make it too much bigger. And that looks like a decent size. And then I'll release the mouse key. And then if I need to, I can type M for move and reposition it. So move it around a little bit, maybe place it here. And if you don't want it to, um, snap to those coordinates or snap to the axis, then you can just click out here and see about moving it around like that. Okay. So now when I look at this head on, I've got some trees. And I would place trees not just in the foreground here, but I would also put them in some of the backyards and also some of the front yards of the buildings so that when you are at eye level and also when you are at the bird's eye view over here, you have these trees. And at this angle, they're a little distorted, and that's all right for what we're doing. It gives the impression that we want. So I'm going to tap the escape key and then tap the space bar and click away from my objects. Um, so we just want a sense of a tree being there. So download trees, download shrubs, and download people. So let me go back over to Window, 3D Warehouse. I'm still signed in. And now I'm going to do a search and I'm going to type in people. And I should spell that properly. And then enter. So you can go with realistic people, photorealistic people like that, or you can go with very simple representations of people like this, whatever you'd like. And you'll notice on this, it's a collection, and this one also has a huge collection. So just be careful. Don't download too big of a collection. I'm going to go over to the filters to make sure that I have it reduced down to the smaller sizes. And I don't, so I'm going to click on models that I want to download, categories, I'll leave that alone. File sizes, I do want to reduce that down again, about 5 meg. And then for the polygon count, I can't seem to click and drag. Interesting, so I'll just go no more than 10K on the polygon count, and I will apply that. And then I'll look through. And I like to download figures that, show some activity, show them walking. This one's not bad. It has people, it even has the shadows. And I'm just looking through the different content. Here are people, and these are just the silhouettes. And I'm also keeping an eye on the file size and the polygon count. So let's say I go with, and I just can't seem to decide here because these are all good examples. But let's say I go with this one, people here, stylized. They're not lifelike, realistic. And I was going to download, but I'm looking at the file size, and then I'm also looking at the polygon count. So that's a little high. Um, but actually, when I look at that, this person here is 47 kilobyte and 22 on the polygon count. So that might be okay. So let me go ahead and click on that. And then I want to do a 3D preview. Click View in 3D. And then just take a look. Okay, that should work. So I'll go ahead and download directly into my model, yes. And then what I'm going to do is just zoom out here and notice how they were floating high. So I'm just going to place them right, well, let's see, because that's a little bit lower. I'll tell you what, I'll just put them right here on this corner. And in this case, I will have to right click and explode. And then tap the spacebar and then click away from the objects. And then from here, feel free to select and move them around. And you notice here that it brought in a surface. So be real careful with that. So there's that surface. I'm just going to delete it now. Actually, I'm going to double click. So it picks not just the surface, but also the edges, and delete. And then I'll just move the people around. So maybe not just people, but even pets. Oh, I still have to explode it. So let me right click and explode again. So that was a nested group. Okay. So let's say I want that dog and I just want to move it. So I'm going to type M and I'll pick that. I'll just move it over here. Let's see if it can be, it can. So I'll click that. And then I'll take that person and move that person over here. And then just go ahead and populate the neighborhood with more people. And just think of a story that you'd like to tell with these figures. Like, what are they doing? Are they out for a morning walk? coming home from work. What time of day do you think you want it to be? Just if you practice that storytelling, you'll have an idea as to where to put all of the content. Um, let's say this person is out for a walk, just like that one. I'm going to move. I'm just going to place them right over here. These two individuals look like they're talking. Let me tap the escape key. Tap the space bar. I'll pick this one and then this one, and I'll just type M for move. Bring them over here and maybe place them in front of our site, talking to each other. Maybe one of them lives in that building. Over here, they're playing around. Maybe they're in their front yard. So let me tap the space bar and then just type M for move. Move them right here. Okay, and the others, I may not use them now, so I'll just take them and delete. And don't worry about deleting these because if I come over here to my components and I click this icon here where it says in model, you'll see that they are listed there, all of them. So you could have moved them off to the side, but here, let's see, I've got all of these, and I can even bring in the entire group of people again. But let's see. Looks like some of those individuals aren't there, and they may just be painted differently is all. But here, for example, if I want to pick this individual walking, just click on it, bring it over, and there you go. And matches the other one. So I may not want to repeat that one yet. Maybe I want to put that one in the background, somewhere further back, like right over there, perhaps. There we go. And then that helps give a sense of depth. And then definitely going to need some trees here also. All right, tapping the space bar, escape key. And then feel free to add any more content. So if I go back to window and I go to 3D warehouse, you can search for street lights. And then always use the filters. But if you're comfortable and you can keep an eye on the file size and the polygon count, then you should be okay. But I still like to reduce the file size. And then this time I'll just click up to 10 megs and apply that and see what I get. And this one seems to have a lot of options. So maybe that would be a good one to download, but just keep an eye on the polygon count. And like I said, you just don't want too high of a polygon count because if you do that, and let me just close this out, and you start to orbit and it's starting to hang up on you, that has everything to do with the content that you have in your model. So it will slow it down. So just be mindful of that. So street lights, if you want to think of a car, for example, you can check that out also. Whatever you'd like. But the whole point here is not to lose sight of the goal, which is to show the building on the site and the relationship of that building to the neighborhood. And just how does that look, or how would it look if I were to walk by the site, or kind of take a look at it from this distance here, eye level. Okay, so have fun adding content from the 3D warehouse.